Well, hello everyone. It's Carpo. I got back from a trip down to San Francisco and Santa Clara for the Grateful Dead concert. And since I got back, I've been meaning to make a video, but I really just haven't. I haven't been able to find the right words, I guess, to describe my experience. This past weekend was probably the most emotional roller coaster of my entire life. And I compared it to the birth of my children, but in the sense that my kids being born was an extremely happy moment. And I've had extremely sad moments, such as when my father died. But the happy and sad, the emotional ups and downs. This was by far the most extreme experience I'd had, laughing and crying, and it's just awesome. I was a big Dead fan back in the 90s, early 90s. Started listening to American Beauty, and we thought it was heavy metal at first because they're called the Grateful Dead. My friend found the tape. We were young, like 14 or something, maybe younger. I started listening to this tape and thought, what, that's not heavy metal. I don't know how we fell in love with it. Next thing I know, I'm buying Live Without a Net and realized the difference. I was like, what, is this the Grateful Dead? And then I started learning more about the band and the history of them. And from 92 to 95, I went to about 9 shows, I think. All the ones at Autzen Stadium, and went to Portland Meadows, and up in Seattle, down in Oakland, and Shoreline. And as a kid, I did what I could. I hitchhiked down to Oakland once, just on a whim. And one time we tried to take the train down, and that was the country fair, never mind. So anyway, it became such an awesome experience because I spent a few years watching Jerry play. Then I had 20 years to sit and think about that and listen to the Dead and reminisce about those times. And then, so some would say that going to a Grateful Dead concert now, and there's all kinds of, I consider myself a Deadhead, but I'm not one of those Deadheads who's sitting there at the show writing down the set lists and obsessing over the band members' personal lives, or especially not picking at the music they're playing, or complaining, or especially complaining because Trey Anastasio from Fish played Jerry Garcia's parts. And that's controversial because they're a jam band. But here I am watching my favorite band with one of my favorite guitarists playing with them, because I love Fish too. And it was like a dream come true, And some people say, oh, you can't fill Jerry's shoes. Nobody's trying to. They're just playing music. Musicians understand that. It's an awesome thing to watch because Trey didn't step up and try to be, some great, he wasn't playing the front man, Phil and Bob were the front men, and I have a high reverence for people who can, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I tried to take some notes of the various things that happened because it was just so intense. On the way down there, we're like 30 miles down, south of Salem, and there's a biplane, and he's doing tricks up in the air. And I notice him as we're coming towards him. We come under an overpass, and as we come out the other side, this biplane goes, flies up, seriously, 15 feet from our car. Because the freeway was raised, and he was it was just as we came out, totally unexpected, amazing. We were just yeah, set us off on this crazy long weird trip. We got there and found out, here's the thing, the Dead they released a bunch of tickets right at the end, right before the show, in order to flood the market so scalpers would get screwed. And no, they did. All the scalpers I saw out there had they'd have 8 tickets and nobody was buying them. I was lucky enough because I had some extra tickets, and I wanted to sell them for face value. It was impossible. So I said, all right, I give in. I'm going to miracle somebody. I went to give a miracle to this kid. And he's like, I said, hey, if you're not picky about tickets, I got a miracle for you. And he goes, actually, I am. I've turned down 4 miracles. It's my first Dead show. I want to be by the stage. And I was just blown away. I mean, how much times have changed. A person turning down, a ticket. I was just wow, shocked. Finally found a guy to give it to for his girlfriend. And the other one I ended up throwing away. It was crazy. Second night, I also had 2 extra tickets. I found some dude on the corner was just coming in, and luckily I was able to get $50 each for him. They were like 75, I think. And I was really lucky because there were dudes standing out there with like 10 tickets, 20 people with their hands up. The second night, nobody had floor tickets, and I really wanted to go on the floor with my wife because we had behind the stage seats, and I really wanted to get to the floor, but I only had 1 ticket my friend had given me for the ride down, and there weren't any floor tickets available. So I decided to sell my floor ticket and just use our other tickets behind the stage again. And my buddy was really bummed because he wanted to be on the floor with us. He'd been alone the night before in his own seat. Just as I was about to, I just said, let's just wait it out and see what happens. You know, I always have faith because the universe always makes it work out. People had offered me like $150 for it. I think the ticket was like $230 total. And I was like, no, I turned them down. I was just trying to get at least $200 because I was the only one with a floor ticket. Everyone else had seats. And just as I was about to turn and go into the show, I saw some other guy selling floor tickets. I said, how much? Basically, long story short, gave him $125 for a floor ticket, half price. Ended up getting on the floor with my wife. Everything worked out perfectly. We danced the night away, and it was epic. Just an awesome, awesome experience. They played so many songs that I love, like Loser. It's one of my favorites, and they encored with Fare Thee, Broke Down Palace, which has the line Fare Thee Well in it, which was the name of the tour, and if you want to call it a tour, but it was just, I cried. I haven't cried for 4 days straight like this. It was just awesome, epic experience. During the first set, at the end of the first set, I believe, the first day, there was a rainbow, a perfect rainbow over the back of the stadium, and it was amazing because the gay pride parade was that day, and I was just like, what the hell is going on here? It was just this perfect end to the set, and everybody was just tripping. And somebody had said that it was a fake rainbow that the Dead had paid $50,000 to have made, and then they retracted that. The people who were there, I heard somebody say, you know, the very light raindrops, they said it was Jerry's tears, and it just made me bawl because I was like, you know, what an awesome thought. It was, the clouds were there, you know. It wasn't like somebody made a fake rainbow. I know it's possible, and they have machines. It's because it blew people away. But anybody who's been to a Dead show knows that weird weather events happen. They opened my very first concert with Here Comes Sunshine. I think it was in '92 or '93, and it had been cloudy and kind of raining, and just as they started Here Comes Sunshine, the sun comes out as they're singing, and it was just like, wow. It was really, really cool. It was very emotional, very emotional. So we went, my buddy called me yesterday, and because we wanted to go to Chicago, we were so stoked. And my buddy's like, we know we can't go. We got the kids and everything, and we also have a house rented for this weekend for the beach, for the 4th of July weekend. And my buddy called me up to say that he bought the webcast for the Chicago shows, and he wanted to watch it with us. I was like, but we're going to be at the beach, family vacation. So I was like, why don't you come with us? Turns out that we check into the house at 4 o'clock. The show starts at 5 o'clock. I'm bringing my own TV, my own stereo system. We've got Wi-Fi at the house. It's on the beach. So we're going to sit there and watch the Chicago Dead shows this weekend live from the beach at a beach house. Instead of fighting traffic afterwards, we're going to go play in the sand. And I'm going to tell you that this weekend has completely recharged my faith in humanity, my love for life. I always consider myself a happy, positive person, but like everyone, get stuck in the daily routines. And I need to break away from that. And, you know, this was much more than I expected. And it was more than just the show. It was the whole road trip. I took one of my best friends that I haven't seen in a long time. He went through some bad shit and bad times in his life. And he was able to get a ticket, and we were able to get down there. 15-hour drive, 12-hour drive. It seemed like it was about 15 on the way back because we got stuck in traffic in Silicon Valley. That place is nuts, dude. Because we went to San Fran afterwards because my wife wanted to go to the Golden Gate Bridge and check out Golden Gate Park. So we did that. Then we drove to the top of the hill, took pictures, and Maybe I'll just add those pictures in a slideshow and add those to this video or something, because they were really cool. But went to the park. Oh, at the Grateful Dead, at the show on Saturday, when you walked into the stadium, because I was like feeling kind of burnt out. I'm like, how am I going to get them? I mean, you wonder how the emotion's going to flow, when it's going to start. As soon as you walk up to the stairs at the stadium, they were handing out roses. They handed out like 80,000 roses, and each person got a rose. And I was like, oh my God. And you get to the top of the stairs, and there's a picture of Jerry with this wire thing around it, and you put your rose in there. And it was just like, I just cried right there, and I was like, this is it, here we go. You know, just amazing. But anyway, I took one of the roses with me home, or back. We took it to San Francisco, took the rose to Golden Gate Park, took it down to the ocean, did a little seance, and tossed it into the ocean, and hit the road back. We hit like this long traffic line coming out of San Fran, coming towards up towards Sacramento, and it was just in the middle of the desert. We had no AC. It was hot. Instead of complaining and griping, my wife gets out the bubbles. She starts blowing bubbles out in traffic, and they were going all over the road. And you know, in Cali, you can ride your motorcycle on the side, and the cops do it all the time anyway, everywhere. But the cop was riding along the side as she was blowing bubbles, and he rode right through him. We didn't even see him coming. The cop waited like a half mile up on this left turn thing, just waiting until traffic finally got past this light. And he looked right at us as we drove by. We even had Fare Thee Well in the back of our car. But I think he thought the bubbles were coming from the car behind us, because at the traffic light we blew some more bubbles, but it looked like because as soon as the minivan behind us came, the cop just zoomed behind him and pulled him over. And since we're all stuck in traffic, there's no other reason he would have pulled anybody over. I mean, he hadn't seen the car do anything. Everybody was doing, you know. And I thought, what a fucking asshole. And I'm laughing as we're just hauling ass down the road, saying, by the time he figures it out, oh, it was those hippies in the dead car. We're long gone. But I thought, you know, if that guy had pulled me over for blowing bubbles. But the California cops are horrible. And at the end of the Dead show, there was... they used helicopters to clear out the lot. I figured they'd give us at least an hour or so to get out. Before we were even out of the stadium, they had choppers flying around with bullhorns saying, the concert is over, you must leave now. And they're like, people will be violated, and get off the golf course and get in your cars and go. And they were just dicks, and they charged $60 for parking, and then they like want us out right away. They had a few undercovers in the shakedown lot, busting people selling stuff. And it's like, you know, come on, give us a break. 50 years. Bob Weir has spent more time on stage than any other musician in history. It's an amazing thing. Thousands of shows. And just that honor of 50 years, you know, it's like the cops would have at least given us a little time. So I'm starting a little thing where I'm urging people to send a letter to the Santa Clara Police Department, a thank you note. Not harsh or mean, no cussing, but a thank you note saying thank you for accepting us into your town and being so kind, and you know, a little bit of sarcasm. I'm trying to figure out how to start a blog to get people to do this, or I don't do the hashtag or any of that stuff. I don't really know, but I really want to start a movement to do this, to let them know. Because I asked the security guy, I was like, do they do this for all the events here? And he's like, no. And but other than the helicopters, absolute blast. We ended up finding a parking spot for $40 instead of 60, which was still like 10 blocks down. And the guy's like, yeah, the money goes to the local schools. He was like a coach. And it was like a business, like a computer business. And I was like, sweet, you know, at least my money's going somewhere good. So, so many things happened I couldn't even start. Besides the rainbow, they had this skywriter, and he did a peace symbol up in the sky with using contrails, and then he did like a lightning bolt. And just before the first show, just crazy, awesome. So awesome that I'll have to do another video about it, but for now that was my experience, and it changed my relationship, changed my life. It was phenomenal. Can't wait to go to the Fish show next month.